Your credit score is not a measure of how responsible you are. It's a measure of how profitable you are. That number, 612, 720, 803, isn't a moral grade. It's a behavioral prediction model. A system designed to answer one question. How likely are you to make banks money without costing them money? And once you understand that, something shifts. Because buried inside that system is a loophole. Not illegal, not hidden in fine print, just misunderstood. A small behavioral move that can shift your score faster than most people think possible, without paying off thousands of dollars, and without earning more money. Most people never use it. Not because it's complicated, but because they don't understand how the game is actually designed. My name is Aiden, and today I want to show you the psychological lever inside the credit system that banks quietly rely on, and why using it feels almost too simple to be real. The invisible game you're actually playing. Imagine two people. Person A makes $120,000 a year. Person B makes $45,000 a year. Who has the higher credit score? Most people assume it's person A, but income is not a scoring factor. Let that sink in. Your credit score, typically calculated using models like FICO or Vantage Score, does not care how much you earn. It cares how you behave. Specifically, it looks at patterns. Do you borrow? Do you repay? How much of your available credit are you using? How predictable are you? That's it. The system isn't emotional, it's statistical. And here's where the psychology comes in. Most people believe improving their credit score requires sacrifice. Paying off massive debt, closing accounts, avoiding credit entirely, working harder to deserve a better number. But the credit system doesn't reward sacrifice, it rewards signal optimization. That's the shift. Because when you zoom out, a credit score is essentially a behavioral algorithm reacting to ratios and timing. And that's where the loophole lives. It has nothing to do with how much you owe. It has everything to do with how much of your available credit you appear to be using at a specific moment in time. This is called credit utilization. And for most people, it's quietly destroying their score, even when they think they're doing everything right. Here's the uncomfortable truth. You can pay your credit card in full every single month and still look risky to the algorithm. Why? Because of when your balance gets reported. Banks typically report your balance to credit bureaus not when you pay it off, but when your statement closes. So if your credit limit is $5,000 and you spend $4,000 during the month, even if you pay it off in full before the due date, if that $4,000 balance is what gets reported, you just showed 80% utilization. And to the algorithm, that looks stressed. High utilization signals dependency. Dependency signals risk, even if you're completely financially stable. And that's where the loophole begins. Because if the game is about what gets reported, not what gets paid, then you don't need more money. You need better timing. But timing alone isn't the full story. There's a deeper psychological layer behind why most people never take advantage of this, and it has everything to do with how we think about debt.
The psychological trap that keeps you stuck. Most people treat credit cards like a bill. You spend, you wait, you pay by the due date, you feel responsible. Psychologically, that feels complete. The loop closes. But the credit system doesn't evaluate your responsibility based on the due date. It evaluates the snapshot taken at statement closing. And here's where human psychology works against you. We are wired for minimum required effort. If the due date is the deadline, we optimize for that deadline, not the invisible reporting date that isn't emotionally urgent. This is called salience bias. We respond to what feels visible and immediate. The due date is visible. The reporting date is not. So we unknowingly send the algorithm the wrong signal every single month. Let's break this down simply. Credit utilization typically makes up around 30% of your score in models like FICO. That's enormous. But here's the subtle part most people miss. The scoring model doesn't care if you intend to pay it off. It only cares about the ratio reported. If your limit is $10,000 and your reported balance is $7,000, your utilization is 70%, even if you pay it off 3 days later. To the algorithm, you look maxed out. Now imagine you instead pay $6,500 before the statement closes. Your reported balance becomes $500. Now your utilization is 5%. Same spending, same income, same financial life. Different signal. And that single shift can swing a score by dozens of points. This is the loophole. You can manipulate the ratio without changing your lifestyle. Not by lying, not by gaming illegally, just by understanding timing. But here's why banks don't talk about this loudly. Because high utilization benefits them. When you carry higher balances, even temporarily, you're statistically more likely to carry interest in the future, feel dependent on the card, and normalize high balances. The system quietly rewards low utilization and quietly profits from high utilization. And most people assume the solution to a low credit score is to pay off everything and stop using credit. Ironically, closing cards can hurt you. Why? Because when you close a card, you reduce your total available credit. Lower available credit plus same spending equals higher utilization. The score drops. The algorithm isn't judging your discipline, it's calculating ratios. This is why someone with $20,000 in available credit using $2,000 looks safer than someone with $3,000 available using $2,000. Same debt, very different risk profile. It's not about how much you owe, it's about how constrained you appear. And that leads us to the deeper layer of the loophole, the leverage effect. Because once you understand how ratios work, you can intentionally design your credit profile instead of reacting to it.
The leverage effect nobody explains. There's a strange paradox in the credit world. The people who need higher credit limits the most usually can't get them. And the people who already look low risk get limit increases effortlessly. Why? Because the algorithm rewards distance from desperation. Here's the mental model. Think of your credit profile like oxygen levels. If you're using 80% of your available credit, you look like someone breathing through a straw. If you're using 5%, you look like someone standing in open air. Same spending, different breathing room. And the system rewards breathing room. Now here's where the leverage effect comes in. Let's say you consistently spend $2,000 per month on a credit card. If your total limit across all cards is $2,500, you're using 80%. If your total limit is $10,000, you're using 20%. If your total limit is $40,000, you're using 5%. Your behavior didn't change. Your perceived risk did. This is why strategic credit limit increases and occasionally opening an additional well-managed card can improve your score even if you never carry a balance. Because you're increasing denominator leverage. The algorithm sees a smaller ratio and interprets it as stability. But here's the psychological block most people hit. They're afraid to ask for credit limit increases. It feels risky. It feels like more debt. It feels irresponsible. But a credit limit is not debt. It's capacity. Debt is what you use. Capacity is what you're allowed to use. And the algorithm rewards unused capacity. In fact, many major issuers like Chase Bank and American Express allow soft pull limit increase requests that don't impact your score. Yet most people never request them. Why? Because psychologically, we confuse access with obligation. We assume that if we raise the ceiling, we'll spend more. But disciplined users don't need restriction. They need leverage. And here's the deeper insight. Credit scoring models are designed to predict future behavior based on current ratios. When your utilization consistently stays under 30%, ideally under 10%, you trigger a different risk category. You move from active borrower to controlled user. That shift changes everything. It influences approval odds, interest rates, credit limit growth, auto loan and mortgage pricing, all because of a ratio. Not income, not hustle, not financial virtue, just math. But there's one more layer most people overlook, and it's the long game. Because timing and utilization can move your score quickly, but structural positioning builds resilience. And that's where the real advantage lives.
Designing your credit identity. Here's the uncomfortable truth no one says out loud. Your credit score is a brand. Not a reflection of who you are, but a reflection of how the system categorizes you. And brands are built intentionally. Most people live reactively inside their credit profile. They wait for a drop, they panic, they pay things off randomly, they close cards emotionally. It feels responsible. But the algorithm doesn't reward emotion, it rewards pattern consistency. So, let's zoom out. The loophole isn't just pay before the statement closes. It's this: control what gets reported. That means keeping reported utilization low, ideally under 10%, asking for strategic credit limit increases, avoiding unnecessary account closures, letting time build account age, paying on time every time, not because it's morally superior, but because it sends the cleanest possible signal. Think of it like posture. Two people can weigh the same, earn the same, and spend the same, but the one who stands upright looks confident. Low utilization is financial posture. And here's the most powerful part. Utilization has no memory in most scoring models. If your utilization is high this month, your score drops. If it's low next month, it can rebound. It resets. That means you can strategically lower your reported balances 30 to 45 days before applying for a major loan, like a car or mortgage, and potentially improve your approval odds and interest rate. Not by earning more, not by working harder, just by understanding the snapshot. This isn't cheating, it's literacy. And once you see the system clearly, you stop feeling judged by it. You start designing within it. Because banks don't fear people with high income, they fear people who understand ratios. If this shifted how you see your credit score, take a moment to reflect on it. And if you want more breakdowns like this, where we unpack the psychology behind money systems most people never question, you can like the video, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and subscribe for deeper dives. Until next time, my name is Aiden.